Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way Nation. What is going on? It is your man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. What is going on? I welcome each and every one of you to episode 52. We're talking about making money with real estate, and today we're going to focus on rental arbitrage using the Airbnb platform mainly. So I want to say peace and blessings and thank you to each and every one of you who are here with me live as I stream across the Wealth Our Way YouTube and Facebook platforms. I want to give a special salute to the Wealth Our Way Nation family members that watch this program pre-recorded overnight, over the weekend, or wherever you can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And a heartfelt how you doing to the Life 101 members who listen to the audio recording of this very here program. So thank God it's Friday is the saying, right? This week has been crazy for your boy. So as you can see by my surroundings, I'm not at the crib. I'm not in the home office. I'm actually staying with a friend / client. I hate to even refer to her as a client because she's more of a friend, known her for 24 years. Very, very good people. Just in my transient nature right now, heading back to Atlanta to see the kids next week. And my mom got into a car accident. She's fine. Got into a car accident with my truck. Truck is messed up. Had to get it towed to a repair shop. I'm driving around in the rental, little Toyota Camry. You know, it's not big man friendly. It's just so much going on right now. But you see the pearly whites. You see the smile. I cannot let anything sidetrack my happiness. I am looking forward to the weekend. Georgia, my motorcycle is in the shop. The parts that they needed to repair her have not arrived. I can't ride, but I'm going to be happy. I'm happy. I'm always happy. Today, I want to talk to you about rental arbitrage using the Airbnb platform. When I looked this up earlier this week to give you guys this information, I was like, ding, 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 ding. This may be the winner. I'm going to share a screen with you in a minute with an article from the Bigger Pockets podcast. So when you guys see the article, I want you to take the opportunity to, I think Renee will put it in the chat, what the actual address for the podcast is. But I want you guys to listen to the podcast, read the article, which is in blog form, and get a deeper understanding, because you know all I'm going to do is take a high level look at it, pointing you in the right direction. But it's funny when I hear the word arbitrage, it reminds me of my days in college, because my first foray into finance was international monetary economics. And I wanted to be a currency arbitrager, which is basically arbitrage is the taking of one commodity or asset from one market and selling it at another price in another market. It's called taking advantage of pricing inefficiencies. So if I told you you could get this iPhone from me with my lovely daughter on it, you can get this iPhone from me for $100, and you know somebody wants an iPhone for $300, you would buy it from me for $100, sell it to the other person for $300, make the profit of $200. That is a very, very high level definition of arbitraging. So we are going to turn over and look at real estate rental arbitrage utilizing the Airbnb platform. So we're going to go to the screen share right now. So rental arbitrage, the secret of making a fortune on Airbnb without owning any property. This is what we talked about yesterday, trying to give you guys access to additional streams of income without a lot of upfront capital. Well, without having to own a property sounds like a way for you to do something without putting a lot of money out first. So let me go and start to scroll down here to give you an idea. So as I told you, this is the Bigger Pockets Daily Podcast. This is episode 30. It's an 18 and a half minute listen. I challenge and ask each of you to go listen to this, because what you will find is the information will be a lot more detailed than what I'm going to talk about here. So let's talk about what rental arbitrage is. I just got finished giving you a brief definition, but rental arbitrage is, let's say you find a condominium that is listed for rent for $1,500. You go to that landlord and you list it for $1,500. excuse me, you rent it for $1,500, and then you list it on Airbnb for $4,500 a month, and you collect the profit, less your expenses and things of that nature. So the first question that comes to mind is this legal? A lot of people want to know, is rental arbitrage legal? Yes, it's completely legal. If I am leasing out a property because I own it, as long as I am comfortable with the usage that you're going to utilize it for, it's legal. The problem comes when people want to skirt the landlord's intentions and try to go around them. And as this paragraph ends, it says, honesty is the key. So how can you make money on Airbnb without owning a property? First of all, there is no requirement on Airbnb that a property you list, you have to own. You just have to have control of the property, the right to list it. So once again, I knew a person when Airbnb was in its more infantile stages, they went and rented 10 apartment units in an apartment building. They had enough money to cover the rent. They entered into 10 separate leases. They were slightly dishonest. What they told the rental company was that they ran a company that had employees that came to town from time to time, and they wanted to rent these properties out to utilize them as corporate housing for their employees. So they rented these properties. The landlord was very happy to get 10 rents from one reputable renter. And then this person listed each unit on Airbnb. I want to say the rents for each apartment were somewhere between $800 and $1,000. And they were listing these units for like $90 a night on Airbnb. 90 times 30 is $2,700. If you factor in vacancies, you factor in expenses, they may have been clearing about $2,000 a month for a property that they were paying $1,000 a month upside. So they were making $1,000 a month times 8 units. That's $8,000 a month, $96,000 a year using someone else's property. Now, let's say you encounter someone who has a property and you want to Airbnb it, and they're kind of hesitant. Sometimes people make their mind up on things that they have no idea about. Just the thought for some people that you're going to sublet out their property to people who they're not going to screen, they're not going to know, may be enough for this person to tell you, nah, I don't want to do that. So some of the ways for you to sweeten the deal for the owner of the property suggested in this article is to make sure you're promising these people that their property will not be misused, that their property will be returned in the state that they got it in. And one way to do that is to offer additional insurance. It's a way to tell people, hey, listen, I promise that if anything happens to your property, it'll be covered by the insurance that Airbnb has, and it will also be covered by this secondary layer of insurance that I got. And then another way is, so I gave you an example where the landlord is renting out the property for a set amount of money. And then you, as the Airbnb person, you're trying to make all of this extra money through arbitrage. One of the ways for you to sweeten the deal with a potential landlord is to say, hey, look, right now, your expectation of what you're going to make is capped at a certain number, whatever you're charging for rent. I plan on making a whole lot more money than that, and I'll split some of those profits with you. Maybe not 50-50, but maybe give you 10% of all my upside property. And then number 3, another way to sweeten the deal is what I told you this first person did, offer to rent multiple properties from them at once. I told you yesterday's program, as a landlord, I want my properties rented all the time and not damaged. That's numbers 1 and 2 in my rental Bible. So if I have 15 properties and I could get a relationship with one person to rent 6 of them out, if that person is good to me and in that business, that's helpful to me. Now, the flip side of that is I'm putting a lot of my eggs into one basket of a renter. If something happens with that renter, all of a sudden I have 6 vacancies at once. I need to keep that in mind. So how do we get started in Airbnb arbitrage? The first thing, and if you guys have been faithful Wealth Our Way Nation members and listening to the programs, you understand the importance of setting up a business. And we've talked about whether you're going to do a LLC, a corporation with the S subchapter S election, or a sole proprietorship, doesn't matter. What you need to do is set up a business. You need to treat yourself as seriously as you wish to be taken. And you do that by separating your business affairs from your personal affairs. Once you do that, you need to get the proper insurances, the proper licenses. You also need to build your team of professionals. You must have an attorney, an accountant, someone who can co-host. So I told you guys when I was going to start this Toro business, I need someone to check in and out the cars. They're basically hosting the cars for me. They're my co-host. In this example, they're going to be my children. You also need a cleaning crew. I don't think you want to go to your property and flip the house yourself, but I have seen some Airbnb hosts that do clean the houses themselves. It would help to have someone who is a general contractor, an interior designer, maybe even a real estate agent. But, a lot of times Airbnb will photograph your property for you to list it. But if you don't have that option or Airbnb is booked up, you may also want to have a styler of the property who also does photographs. Then you want to do your market research. You want to find out, just like with Toro, you want to find out what the likelihood of people renting your property is and what the price points will be. You don't want to enter into a lease, because now remind you, this is very similar to when we were talking about Toro and we were talking about the difference between paying cash for older model cars that you could afford, like a $4,000, $5,000 car, putting all your money in it and then renting it out, versus taking out a car note. When you take out a car note, you have the added burden of meeting that car note every month. In real estate arbitrage, you have the burden of making the rent payment every month. So like Jay-Z imitated Goodfellas scene where he said, not selling any shows, F you, pay me. Nobody's coming to your videos, F you, pay me. Records aren't selling, F you, pay me. That's what's going to happen when you're arbitraging. The landlord is not going to care that you're not able to rent your property out, his property or her property out on Airbnb. They're going to be on some F you, pay me type of mentality. So you want to do your research, make sure that you can turn a profit when you rent this, when you structure your pricing correct. Once again, I am going to put the link to this in the chat, and you will be able to take a deeper dive and read stuff that I'm scrolling through faster. Finding properties, listing your properties. These are all things that we talked about briefly yesterday on the broadcast. And then you want to optimize your listing. So I think people do not, it's the same thing with Toro. People don't give enough attention to how well photographing and cleaning and listing extra little amenities can go with people, especially with properties. Now, it's funny because this actually doesn't work for me. When I Airbnb, I could care less that they told me all of the things to do around the local area. But I am very much a contrarian. So I try never to judge my businesses based on how I would act, because I don't act like most people. So that's one of the great things about having a staff. I can ask them, hey, if you went to Saginaw, Michigan, would it be important to you to know what the favorite restaurants are near your house? And if somebody says, yeah, that'd be important, then that's what we're going to go with. We're not going to go with Tank, who's going to get to Saginaw, Michigan, have a very specific purpose for going there, do that one purpose, and stay in his room the rest of the time, sleeping or watching Law and Order, because that's how I like to get down. So you then want to try to automate your business as much as possible. One of the things that we're talking about are economies of scale. So we want to make sure we can do this rather easily. And then, we're going to slide down to the end of the article because we are running out of time. We want to make sure, and I'll put this in the chat now. You want to make sure that you are securing people's properties. You want to make sure you're allowing remote access so you don't physically have to be there. There's a suggestion for the August smart lock in the article. So let me see if I can now copy this link. See how good I am. Copy this link and put it in the chat before we go. So here we go. Post a comment. This is amazing that you guys are seeing me do this, because you guys know I'm horrible with technology. But I do believe, there it is. I just posted the biggerpockets.com blog Airbnb arbitrage. And with that, your man Big Tank has successfully once again done it. So it's the end of the week. I hope you guys had a much, less stressful week than I did. I hope you guys have the greatest of weekends. We will be back on Monday with a whole new topic. Even though it's still going to technically be August on Monday, we're starting a whole new month. The money-making month of August is over. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you, and I hope you have so much fun, joy, and love this weekend. And do remember, wealth is not only for the